Hi Sewing Bees, I'm Sookie and welcome to the Beehive. I've made a bunch of non-sewing sewing notion videos and you all seem to love them. And I have gone through the hundreds and hundreds of more ideas and comments from you. So all the notions or the non-sewing sewing notions that I'm going to discuss today are courtesy of you, my YouTube fans. So today is the 7th of the video and I will have links in the description so that you can go watch all the others. But today we're going to be covering 8 non-sewing sewing notions. So let's get started. So when you've got a little basket or box of threads, or maybe you're working on a project, in some of the other videos I mentioned taking saran wrap or a clear plastic wrap and placing it over top of that area just to kind of keep the dust and maybe dog hair or whatever out of it. And so somebody else had suggested that you use these disposable shower caps, which you can get gobs of these really affordably. I mean, sometimes even when you go to a hotel, you can get one of these. But then a few other people mentioned that that's not very environmentally friendly. So some others had suggested an actual hair bonnet, which would be completely recyclable. You'd be able to just use this over and over again. And I kind of like the idea of it. Plus, it could add a little color to your sewing space. Now, I did get this at the dollar store, so you know it was just like $1.25. But it's just a nice alternative to if you don't want to use the plastic caps. The next idea came from several viewers, and that was these circle felt pads. Now they come in multiple sizes, and you've kind of got like a large, medium, and small. They have an adhesive back to them, and there was a couple of uses that were mentioned. The first that I saw over and over again were if you have a carpet, you would place these on the bottom side of your foot control or your foot pedal, and this will help prevent the foot pedal from moving while you're on carpet. Now I have to be honest, for me, this actually did not work because I have tile floor. So, you know, if you have carpet and yours kind of seems to move around, go for it. Give it a try. I did test it out in my bedroom where I have carpet and I was like, okay, that worked pretty good. So that was one idea to use the felt pads for. And then this also came in several times, which was very simply to peel the backing off and place it on the side of your sewing machine and then use it as a temporary pincushion. This next idea came in from several viewers, and it is the little tea towel holder that actually has an adhesive that you would peel away and you would stick it on the side of your kitchen cabinets maybe, or the side of your oven, like really wherever you want. Now I'm going to stick it on this clipboard just so that I have something other than it just sitting on my table. And I have to say that having it stick, just because now all of this is one. Now let me tell you what this is for, because this is pretty cool. So there's a lot of patterns out there, some of mine included, where when you insert a zipper, you do it in 2 separate pieces. So I'm going to kind of do the unthinkable. I'm going to take the zipper pull off. So this way you would insert one part of the zipper on one portion of the bag or whatever it is you're working on, and then you would insert the other portion on the other portion of the bag, and then you have to connect the two together. And the way that a zipper pull works is that there's a rounded top to it, and the zipper teeth would go in either side of that rounded top, and then they would become best friends at the bottom, and that's where they would connect. So the cool thing about this is that you're going to actually flip the zipper upside down so that the zipper pull is inside and the 2 curves are here. And then you would also take your zipper teeth and you would turn those so that they were wrong side facing up. Now it does help if you have a nice straight edge here. So let's go ahead and cut. And then we're going to take our 2 ends with wrong side facing up, and we're going to feed those into the top of the zipper pull. Okay, and I can kind of feel that it got in there. And then I'm just putting pressure with my pointer finger on to the zipper itself. And there we go. The zipper pull is on the zipper teeth. How cool is that? But now before we zip it off, we want to now pull the zipper tape so that we have our zipper all put together. So give that a try. So a lot of people mentioned this, but only one of my YouTube subscribers actually sent me a link to the exact one that she has. And this is very simply a Lazy Susan. Not to be confused with Lazy Sue or Lazy Sookie, but I have to say this is such a great idea. I wish I would have thought of it myself. Now, I've kind of seen some other people use Lazy Susans, but this one really took the cake because here's why. There's sections. So if there is a reason that you need to take maybe these threads over to where you're working on, or kind of more so like the Wonder Clips, you just take the whole thing over. I love it. And then it fits right back in. I use Scotch tape a lot when I'm doing machine embroidery projects. So that's something that I keep on my counter. And then of course, just like some basic notions. But again, you can just pick up this section and bring it over to the space you're working on. And I gotta say, I think this is so cool. I will include a link for this one in the description below. The next is parchment paper, and there were tons of suggestions, but these two that I'm going to show you were ones that continued to get recommended. And the first was very simply use parchment paper as a pressing cloth. And I gotta say, I have done this in the past, and I felt silly not recommending it because quite honestly, I think sometimes I just pull another piece of cotton or whatever that's kind of laying around. But this is in my kitchen and it's very affordable. And honestly, I don't cook that much, so I've probably had the same container for years. So for me, it would last a long time. But I did think that was kind of a good suggestion. So you could just use it as a press cloth. The second suggestion was fantastic and I love it. I'm going to definitely be using this. You can use it for when you're doing anything with adhesives like spray adhesive, or even if you have a hot glue and you don't want to hurt your surface. Again, this is a really affordable and you can just throw it away when you're finished. And or if you're using it as a press cloth, you can kind of save that one after it's been used for a while and then recycle it and turn it into something like this. But when you're spraying spray adhesives, sometimes they tend to go all over the place. Now I will say KK2000 is my absolute favorite. It doesn't have a horrible odor and it doesn't get everywhere and it doesn't shoot out stringy mess. So this is my favorite spray adhesive, but yeah, it definitely protects your work surface. So give parchment paper a try. This also came in from a lot of different viewers and it was very simply these little suction cups that go on the back of your cell phone case, but you would use them on your rulers. So you would just very simply peel away the back and you could place it in the center. And there you go. Now you have a little thing that's going to hold your ruler, or more honestly, just kind of easier to pick it up than, trying to figure it with your fingers. And they come in all different cute shapes and sizes. And then some of these were just ones that I found at the dollar store. So you could definitely get like higher end ones. And then here's another thing. You could also use your hand and slide in underneath where that suction cup is and kind of help hold on to the ruler a little better as well. The next is your basic household sponge, and I gotta say there were some really cool ideas to go along with this. The first one was to use it as a pin cushion, but more specifically, use it for a pin cushion for maybe specialty pins, ones that you don't want to have mixed in with your normal straight pins. The next idea was to put a little bit of water down the center, like lightly soak the sponge, and then you're going to use it as a mini pressing surface. So once you've stitched your seam, you would lay it onto that. And again, this is just for like a tiny project. And then you could use an iron like this. It's just a mini iron, which doesn't have any seam. And then you would open it up, making sure that you're lying it over where the moistness of the sponge is, and then press that seam as well. And like I said, since this is just a tiny mini iron, it's just heat, it has no way of providing any steam, this is kind of a nice fast way. It's very convenient. I think this would be really nice if you do go to a lot of classes and you don't want to hop up and down and have to stand in line for the iron. I mean, it does a really good job. So that's another idea what to do with a sponge. And the last idea what to do with a sponge is to soak it a little bit more. In fact, like soak the whole top of it and then use it just to wash off chalk marks. So as you're stitching and you're using a chalk marking pencil, when you're finished, you can just kind of go over the sponge and yeah, it helps it come out a lot faster. So here's another one here. And so we're not having to go to the kitchen sink and soaking the material, it just kind of comes off really fast. The next came up in the comments a lot, and that is moleskin padding. So in the real world, you would use this for maybe like the back of your heel on a pair of shoes that you love, but they hate you, and so you get a blister in the same spot. You can either cut off a little piece of this and put it in the inside of the shoe or on the back of your skin. But in the sewing world, let's talk about a few uses for it. The first that came up quite a bit was to use as a thimble. You just cut it into a little circle, and then you can place this wherever you want. So if you tend to use the side of your pointer finger, if you use the bed of or the cushion of your thumb, wherever it is that you're going to need that extra cushion, you can use that. So for me, I tend to like push with my thumb, but I also do push it here. So I might put another piece there, but I thought that was a really cool idea. The next is a really clever idea, and I have to say when I saw it in the comments, it reminded me of when I worked at Busch Gardens with a left-handed friend of mine. So she would use right-handed scissors with her left hand, and she would wrap the handle with suede, and then somebody suggested to use moleskin, so which is what she ended up doing. So really all you're going to do is on whatever scissors you're using, if there's a place that kind of always hurts your finger, so like for me right here, for whatever reason on these scissors, it just kind of hurts my thumb. So you're going to peel away the paper backing, and you're going to wrap it around the handle. And just like that, you have some cushion for your hand. And the last suggestion for moleskin was simply to use it as cord management. So you would just peel off a piece of it and wrap that around your cords. Now, I think personally, this would be really great for taking to sewing classes. So you could use this for your little mini iron, your foot control, your power control, whatever, you know, your power cord, whatever it is you've got. And that way it's nice and convenient and it's ready to go. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this video and gained some insight. If you did, be sure to share this with just one of your sewing friends. And until I see you next time, I hope you have a creative day. Bye-bye.